Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's bring in the head coach of the Texarkana Liberty-Eylau Leopards. We are joined by Coach Dewaski Davis. Coach, how are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful. How are things in beautiful Texarkana, Texas?
Oh, going pretty good. Going pretty good.
Fantastic. I want to ask you a little bit about last year. You take over this program there at Liberty-Eylau, a program coming off of a winless season, a program that really was in need of a spark, and all you guys do is produce one of the biggest turnarounds in the state of Texas, going 6-5, making it back to the playoffs. Even despite, you weren't even named the athletic director and head coach until June. Considering everything that was going on in the offseason, how was it that you were able to put together this turnaround at Liberty-Eylau?
I have some great coaches, number one. I also have some great kids that bought into some changes we brought about. And those changes kind of fit right in, some of them position-wise and system-wise. And I feel like after that, we kind of laid the foundation and built a trust factor that it all fell in place.
So, to go back to what you mentioned about the trust factor, you're a guy who's got a great history coaching high school football at Queen City and at Clarksville. You've had great success. Was there a point early in the season or even before the season started where you could sense that buy-in? You could sense the guys that the guys were buying what you were selling, essentially?
Yes, it was. Early in the season, I felt like it was the turning point last year in basketball. I was a basketball coach, and I had a lot of these same guys, and they realized that I was going to be fair and I was going to be firm, and that's the philosophy we adopted. And the kids just bought in 2 days. If it wasn't for our COVID shutdown for 2 weeks with our offensive line, we felt like we would have been even better than what we were this season.
It's pretty remarkable what you guys are able to do. We're talking with Dewaski Davis, head coach at Liberty-Eylau here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Coach, so then looking forward now to this offseason, it's your first, I would say, actual offseason with your guys here. You've been around this program before, but your first real offseason with your guys. What are you hoping to accomplish this time around to get you ready for 2021?
We're trying to raise our level of play. We felt like we could have done a little bit more. So we've tested them physically, pushed them, and they've raised the bar this year as of what we expected out of them, and we feel good where we're at. And we had a really good offseason so far. So we're just hoping we can continue that throughout the course of the summer, and it'll show in the season.
You're a guy who I think it's fair to say defense is where it starts for you. You're a guy who really focuses a lot on the defensive side. And last year, that was such a remarkable jump that you guys were able to have defensively. From being one of the defense that really struggled in 2019 to a defense that it was a real asset for you guys throughout the course of the year. When you take a look forward to the 2021 defense for your Leopards, do you have a feeling quite yet on what they're going to look like?
Yes, we feel like we lost a few key pieces, but at the same time, I think our IQ picked up a little bit more, and we feel good about that. I think we'll be a little stronger physically than what we were last year as well. We got a pretty good man-child down there in the trenches, and we got to replace him. But we feel like kids that bought into the defense this past year. He and I worked together before, and I thought he'd be great, and he was. So I think the kids really bought in a little bit more to what we're trying to do. So we feel like, as a whole, we'll be better.
One guy that I think really stepped up for you in a big way last year, it was your quarterback, Jaden Hampton. Just a sophomore, you kind of threw him right into the fire, and it feels like he really delivered for you in a way that was, in an impressive way. What did you see from your sophomore quarterback last year, and what do you expect from him going forward?
Jay is a very smart football player. He picks up things really well. They asked early in his spring last year, who would I pick? And I told him that hands down it'd be JJ, just because of what he brings to the table. Well, he's had a pretty good offseason. He got hurt at the end of the season, still threw for about 1,200 yards. So we expect more, bigger, and better things out of him this year, because now the game slowed down a little bit for him, which makes him even better.
Coach, do you have a feeling quite yet on what is going to be different about this team this year as opposed to last year? Obviously, last year, I don't want to say you guys were scrambling, but you were named the head coach in June. You were able to just put together a program and go. Do you have a feeling quite yet on what may be different about this year than last year?
This year, we made some changes offensively. Hopefully that will be a deciding factor for us. And I feel like they were kind of behind the gun last year. It was just total buy-in kind of came at times, but we feel like right now we're ahead of the game offensively. And I guess going through a full off season is going to be a tremendous asset for us this season as well.
Talking with Dewaski Davis, the head coach at Liberty-Eylau here in Texas football today. Coach, I know you're busy, so I'll let you go after this. Your district does you no favors. You're in there with Gilmer, with Pleasant Grove, with a Pittsburgh team that's going to have a new coach. Spring Hill, I think, is on the rise out there. It's a really good district. What do you tell your kids? How do you approach that, knowing full well that you're in there with, teams that are going to be state ranked to start the year? How do you approach that kind of district slate that you guys will be up against?
Well, I tell them this: if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and you got to play the best. So we got the best around in the state, and we feel like that's going to help us get better. Our mindset is we're ready for any challenges. So I feel good that our kids are going to rise to the occasion. Our district's going to test us more ways than one, but it's just going to make us better for the long run.
He's Dewaski Davis. He's the head coach of the Texarkana Liberty-Eylau Leopards. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on a fantastic 2020 season, and looking forward to seeing your boys in 2021.
All right, thank you.
There he goes, Dewaski Davis, the head coach of the Liberty-Eylau Leopards, joining us here on Texas Football Today.